So I can guide you to your harmonious twin flame union, the consciousness state it is all about. But I myself, I didn't need any guidance, right? 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 Well, let me tell you, I did, and I still do. Guidance was my savior. It was my saving grace. I never understood it. I never wanted it, but it happened and it's still happening. And I, of course, mean that. My ego didn't understand that I needed it. My ego didn't want it. That's always the case. And I know everything around about that. So don't be mistaken. I just also didn't want to be guided. Many people don't. It's like against the ego's pride. It's like, no, I know my way around life, around relationships, around the world. Oh, come on. I can do this. I'm not an idiot. Well, I consider myself to be very average. And if you're anything like me, you're pretty much in your ego and you deeply need lots of guidance. So I got 20 years of guidance from my first spiritual teacher. That was my first talking point. So very well, Petra, you're on your way towards the fourth, through 4 points we're going to talk. So the first is my first spiritual teacher. And I remember, I still to this day, I just can still go back there with visuals and sounds and everything, that I walked into this room, this white room, and he was sitting there. Or actually, he just came in when everybody was already sitting down, and then he very softly came in and sat down and started a little meditation with us, and then had a conversation with us, with whomever wanted to speak, and then he would have a conversation, and he went on to another conversation, and so on and so forth. But I remember that ever since he just even like walked through the people to get to his chair in front of us in this beautiful white meditational yoga Zen room, I felt it immediately. I felt, wow, this is something I recognize. This is like home to me. His energy that was hanging around him. And I was stunned because I wasn't even counting on anything like this. I wasn't even counting on being there. I remember that I wasn't even going to go there. But it was like, oh, later tonight in this room here upstairs, we have this meeting. Yeah, you should really come, Okay. It was magical. Yeah. Because it was this recognition, like, I remember this very deep in my heart, that this is true. And that's where it started. That I went to another of such meetings, and then I bought his book, and then, I don't know, within 2 years, I think, I was going to his year course for around 5 years, and going to retreats of 1 week apiece. And he had moved to this other place that was really in nature and a little bit over the border of my country. And I remember traveling there and, yeah, just being in his week retreats there, and the beautiful nature that was there. Sort of remote, very rustic, with very long winters, with lots of snow. which was very peaceful too in a strange way. Yeah. And I just felt as though I was truly taken in by this deep peace and my recognition of that was the thing. But the more I came there and the longer I stayed, the more it became clear what was absolutely not peaceful in me and causing big problems when you would want to be influenced by this deep inner peace to influence your life, to build your life with it instead of with the world and with ego and with all kinds of things that are clearly not it. But how do you build with this inner peace? And that was having a lot of problems for me at that time. And why and what that was just what came out. That was like maybe even the big revelation, not even like the deep inner peace or my recognition of it, my valuing of it, because I valued that deeply and I had been giving it everything from the start, that I recognized that. My time, my energy, my study power, my money, the real revelation and maybe also the real value really started to come out for me when I was learning what was actually like keeping me from having this inner connection while building my life. And this was very difficult for me because I had big problems there that were largely also like undiscovered. Yeah. But that was also the value of it. That was the guidance that I needed. Actually, looking back, I didn't necessarily need guidance about like recognizing this deep inner peace, because even though I truly recognized it in him and from him, and right now I understand that because I also recognize right now that I have been having him as my spiritual teacher many lifetimes, all the time. Oh, there he is again, new lifetime, new body, new family, growing up a little bit, and then, oh, there he is again. There's this man again. There's my teacher again. Okay, let's go visit him in this lifetime, because why not? And that almost made me cry. It does make me tearful right now. That's very emotional. In a very beautiful way. Yeah. But so I recognize that from a thread throughout lifetimes. But I also remember that even though I was very young when I first met him and whatnot, I was hardly 19 years old. Something like that. I also remember that when I was 15, I also had episodes of falling into this vast peace. And so it was something that was present in me already, right? But I recognized it in him. And that brought it more in the world because it was brought into a relationship. So in a sense, I didn't necessarily need guidance to that inner peace, apparently, but this is what I say now, like 25 years afterwards, looking back. But what I needed to have guidance on, what I needed to have input for, was I had all kinds of unrecognized spiritual, psychological problems that prevented me gravely from implementing this peace into my everyday life in all manners, also in relationships and in love relationships, but also in my work and in my whatnot, everything. And of course, the true twin flame was there in the love relationship idea already all the time as well for me. But it was in that community, in that spiritual community, was not seen as a very specific goal that was like a standalone goal. Not in that way. But I needed guidance, and my guidance looking back really was, what I needed to know was that I needed to have pointed out that I was in my ego when I was in the world, and that I had not connected that inner peace with the action part of life. And that was very difficult for me because I sort of could not, because I was deeply traumatized. And eventually I can see that I was choosing that because it was too painful, which is within the same idea of being traumatized. You choose to keep it like that because when you let that go, you need to go through all the suppressed emotions of that trauma so that it can play out through your nervous system and disappear to never return again, ever again. And when you look at it from the healed perspective where I'm now, then you can also see that you actually had wanted that as a soul coming in the earth, on the earth, getting all this trauma to then later work it out, that I actually had wanted that because it gave me the opportunity to learn certain deep lessons that I otherwise not could have learned, or not within the scope of this lifetime, or maybe not ever. And it gave me enough leverage to be able to reach being with my true twin flame in this lifetime now, for which it was needed to resolve certain lessons completely and utterly. And I was able to do all that through that trauma. And to my spiritual teacher, the ungrateful task to point that out to me. And that's where I was sort of stuck for a while. Yeah. And things started to change when I went to 2. So this is another like phase in my guidance history. I started to change the guidance, the primary factor of the guidance, towards Divine Mother herself. She started to call me, actually. And I started to receive through her intercession the healing tool that I reworked and now brought out as, or in 2017, I think, brought out as the key tool, which is the inner work tool for twin flames. And I started to listen to what Divine Mother told me in an autonomous way. Like, I actually felt that my spiritual teacher was an emanation of Divine Mother. And I now started to listen to Divine Mother sort of without him or something. Yeah, well, that's basically what that was. And that was a whole journey in itself. And eventually I started to do all kinds of things that Divine Mother just told me to do. Travel to a place, which you can see in the e-course that I have for you. That is called Divine Feminine Manifestation e-course. Manifestation Secrets e-course, even. And it was also Divine Mother herself that brought me to the Christ Masters right now on Earth that are here trying to promote the idea to roll out the consciousness state of harmonious twin flame union. And that's just what they want right now. And I was apparently infected by that idea by Divine Mother herself and my meeting with them and working with them. And that all happened. So that's where Divine Mother also brought real life people into the mix. Well, that's not entirely true. That already started because there were also real life flesh and blood people that gave me the idea for the key exercise in what that it was in the beginning. I'm sorry, and whatnot. So yeah, but the episode with the Christ Masters also was closed off a little bit, and then the revelation was that we were actually supposed to work in spirit together at this time. So that's what we're doing right now. And now I'm sort of in phase 3 in this lifetime, in my twin flame guidance that I still enjoy. And that is that Divine Mother tells me where I should go to commit to guidance. And I do that. Wherever it is, when she says it, I go. And I listen to what I will be told. People are there. She uses people for that. Actual flesh and blood. With actual things to say to me that my ego might not like. That's where I'm now. But that came after all these very deep experiences that already sealed me into a definitive state in my consciousness. So that makes it, I guess, different for me at this time. Because I didn't necessarily stress that when I was talking about it, but don't forget that working with the Christ Masters, I mean, that was actually my big correction of my problem that I was a little bit stuck with my teacher before. They corrected my error and then I could resolve that. That's what it came down to. And it also came down to that Divine Mother guided me to them so that they could point my error out to me and I could resolve it. And then I was brought back to Divine Mother. And now she works through other people that can guide me further along the line of having finally resolved that central error. And at this moment, I have also recently committed to a new teacher within this vein, within this space of my journey. And I might see him in a couple of weeks. He has been giving me a lot of homework. I have read a book and studied what was in it and brought it into connection with what I have been going through recently, the last couple years, 7 years, or actually my entire journey that we've now been talking about. And that was very healing. I had enormous breakthroughs. It was very beautiful. And we'll be, I guess, talking about that real soon. Again, yeah. Amazing. What a breakthrough I went through since I accepted him as a guide. Amazing. The breakthroughs that come from true guides are absolutely beyond belief, because they break you open so that you can experience that inner peace as a force in your actual daily life. Who doesn't want that? It feels absolutely fantastic. There are no words for it. So, do I receive twin flame guidance? Yes, all the time. I spend all my time in it. I bring all my money to it. But I have another guide, and you as well. My twin flame is also my guide, just like yours is. Your twin flame is the one that mirrors you very directly. What is up with you? Your beautiful heart openings that are truly felt. And divine love starts to pour out. They will mirror back to you. But they will also mirror back to you what is your error, that you're still holding on to? What is your psychological problem that you still haven't gotten rid of? That is actually rooted into a spiritual core. You have to resolve it there. They will show you that. And that's what the people complain about all the time, always. Like, oh, my twin flame ran away and I don't like it. But they actually told you that they're sort of fed up with your this and that. And they just withdrew because it's so unpleasant. So what would that mean? Well, it means that I need to say a spell over them so that they come back. Well, maybe they're just right. And you need to look at, well, maybe they are just right. Why not listen to them? I mean, when you are truly wanting to be with your true twin flame in harmonious union and get married there and whatnot, that is a marriage, so there you go. What do you think that means? You think you can have nothing to do with this person no matter what he says? No, of course not. That's not how a marriage functions. It means you have to listen to what he says. That in the first place. But also, when you look at the key tool, you have to look at what upsets you about that. And that's what you're going to work with in yourself with step 2, 3, and 4 of the 4-step exercise. And that will bring you clarity and true success in your inner work. And then they might come back. And that's how you need them to resolve your upsets that you already had anyway. And that's how you purify your heart so that you can be harmoniously together all the time. And in harmonious twin flame union and the marriage that actually is, you just actually simply commit to that fact that is so. You just say, okay, I commit. And anytime that there will be something that upsets me, I will do my inner work. That's what you just commit to. And that's how you get your true twin flame forever after in harmony. So, do I use guidance? Yes, I do. My twin flame guides me as well. But I also have guides that work between me and God to aid me in that relationship. All the time, it works very well. So I hope that helps. And don't forget that my guidance can come to you for free in the week that starts with Monday, November 18, 2024, because we're going to do the love game. And you can guide yourself through that with lots of daily to download exercises. It's going to be beautiful and so healing. So I want you to join. I have a link downstairs. Put your name and email address in it, and I will see you on the inside of that game next week. At this point, is that, would be wonderful. Love from Petra.